You move into the farmhouse on a Thursday in late summer, and the first thing you notice is the light. It comes through the trees at an angle that turns everything amber, the kind of light that makes a place look chosen. The house sits on Newtown Road in Brookfield, Connecticut, surrounded by enough quiet that you can hear the wind change direction. David's mother, Judy, stands in the driveway giving orders to anyone within range. David carries boxes. His younger brother runs in wide circles around the property, with a dog that appeared from somewhere and hasn't left. You stand at the edge of the yard and feel something loosen in your chest that has been tight for as long as you can remember. This is it. This is the thing you have been reaching toward. You have spent most of your life in places that didn't hold. You know what it feels like when a home is temporary. The way you never fully unpack. The way you keep one eye on the exit. The Glatzels are different. They are the kind of family that has roots thick enough to grip stone. Devout, loud, loyal in a way that borders on stubbornness. You chose David, but you also chose this. The noise of it, the faith of it, the permanence of it. That first evening, a neighbor walks up the dirt road with a case of beer and an easy smile. His name is Arne Johnson. He is 19, works at a boarding kennel not far from the house, and leans against the porch railing like he belongs there. He talks to David like they've been friends for years. He makes Judy laugh twice inside the first 10 minutes. You watch him and think, that's someone who knows how to make people feel safe. You should remember that thought later. You don't. Within days, the boy starts waking up screaming. Not the ordinary kind, not darkness or shadows or the residue of a bad dream. He describes a figure at the foot of his bed. An old man, he says, with a face like something that has never been young. He scratches himself in his sleep. He wakes up with marks he can't explain. During the worst episodes, his voice drops to a register that doesn't belong in a young boy's throat, and he says things that make the adults in the room go very still. The family is frightened. Frightened, devout people reach for the framework their faith provides. Judy gets on the phone. The Warrens arrive on a Tuesday morning. Ed and Lorraine, paranormal investigators with a reputation that travels ahead of them like weather. They bring equipment, crucifixes, and a quietness that reorganizes a room. Lorraine walks through the house slowly, touching doorframes, pausing at thresholds. She spends a long time in the boys' room without speaking. When she comes out, her face tells you something before her words do. She tells the family that the boy is under sustained demonic oppression, not possession, not yet. But something is pressing against him, wearing him down, looking for a way in. The interventions begin. Prayer sessions that run past midnight. Blessings in every room. Priests are brought in. The Warrens document 43 individual manifestations over the course of several weeks, each one catalogued with the clinical detachment of people who have seen this before and know that detachment is the only armor that holds. The house starts to feel different after dark. Not haunted exactly. More like watchful. Like something in the walls has learned your schedule. Arne is there through all of it. He shows up with groceries for Judy. He sits with the boy on the bad nights, just his presence, steady and warm. He doesn't flinch from any of it, which you read as courage. One night, deep in a session, the boy is rigid with terror and the prayers aren't breaking through, and Arne leans forward and says something that stops the room cold. He tells whatever is using the boy to leave him alone. He says, "Come into me instead. Take me." The Warrens tell him to stop immediately. Lorraine grabs his arm, but the words are already loose in the air. You watch Arne in the candlelight after he says it, and you feel something shift in your chest, some internal weight redistributing itself. You think, this is a person who would give himself up to protect the people he loves. You have never been close to someone like that. You didn't know people like that existed outside of stories. You are watching an act of obsession. You read it as devotion. That gap, between what a thing is and what you believe it to be, is where everything that follows is born. The boy stabilizes slowly over the following weeks. The color comes back into his face. He sleeps through the night. The Warrens close their active file and drive back to Monroe with their equipment and their notes. The house exhales. You exhale. You let yourself believe that the dark season has passed and the ordinary life you moved here for is still waiting on the other side of it. But Arne is changing. It happens in increments small enough to explain away. He has nightmares he can't describe when he wakes. He appears at the kennel with scratches on his forearms he doesn't remember getting. He loses his temper suddenly, violently, and then the rage collapses and leaves him looking confused, like a man who blacked out for 30 seconds and came back to find the furniture rearranged. He apologizes each time. He's tired, he says. He's been under a lot of stress. You watch him the way you learned to watch the boy, with the instincts of someone who has always been alert to other people's damage. And you notice every small wrong note. You ask him if he's all right. Every time, he says yes. Every time, the word lands slightly off, like a key turning in a lock that doesn't quite fit. You stay close. You tell yourself that proximity is the same as protection. You have always believed this. It is the most expensive belief you own. Spring comes. The boy is well. The Warrens have moved on to other cases. You and David are making plans, real plans, the kind that assume a future. Arne is around constantly, but that has become simply the geography of your life, the shape of the days. You stop tracking his moods as carefully. You let the vigilance go because things look fine, and you have been desperate for fine for a very long time. February 16th, 1981. You are not there when it happens. You learn about it the way you learn about disasters. In fragments, each one requiring you to reconfigure what you thought you knew. Arne is at the kennel. His landlord, Alan Bono, is drinking. An argument starts the way arguments between a drunk man and a sober grievance always start, with something small that is really something enormous. The details emerge slowly in the days that follow. A knife, multiple wounds, Alan Bono bleeding out on the kennel floor. When the police arrive, Arne is walking in slow circles near the body. He is calm in a way that is more disturbing than any panic would have been. He tells them he doesn't remember doing it. You go to him. Of course you do. That is the whole shape of you. You move toward the damage. You stand near the people who are breaking. You believe that love at close enough range can reach whatever is unreachable. In the holding facility, you look at Arne through scratched plexiglass, and his eyes are exactly the same. That is the thing that undoes you. You came prepared to see a stranger looking back. You came prepared to see the thing everyone else was going to claim was responsible. Instead, you see the same man who carried Judy's groceries and sat with the boy in the dark and offered himself up like a sacrifice in a candle-lit room. He is exactly who he always was. Alan Bono is still dead. The defense, with the Warrens' support, announces their strategy: demonic possession. The first time in documented American legal history that such a claim would be formally advanced in a murder trial. The judge rules it inadmissible before the case goes to the jury. The trial will proceed on conventional terms. What the defendant intended, what he knew, what state of mind can be demonstrated by evidence a courtroom can process. You testify. You describe the farmhouse, the boy, the interventions, the night Arne made his offer. The prosecution treats your account as a grief story, a loyal woman building a mythology to protect a guilty man. The defense treats it as the cornerstone of a truth the legal system isn't equipped to receive. Neither version feels accurate. Both feel like translations that have lost something irretrievable from the original. Arne Johnson is convicted of first-degree manslaughter. The sentence is 10 to 20 years. He will serve 5 before his release. You wait for him. You marry him while he is incarcerated, which the world will find strange and which makes complete sense to you, because you have always attached yourself to the people who most need you to stay. That is not a flaw you outgrow. It is a flaw that has the shape of love, which is why you never see it as a flaw at all. After his release, you build something that looks like a quiet life, and then the story resurfaces, the way it always does, because the world never lets a story like this simply end. Books are written, films are produced. The Glatzel case gets packaged into a supernatural thriller with a beginning, a middle, and a satisfying genre conclusion. Audiences choose it on Friday nights. They discuss whether the possession was real. They debate the Warrens, debate the defense, debate whether the law should be able to accommodate the metaphysical. They are frightened in the comfortable way that people are frightened by things that aren't happening to them. You watch the machinery of storytelling convert the worst years of your life into a product. The boy who couldn't sleep for months. A man buried in a Connecticut cemetery. A courtroom full of people trying to put rational language around something that ate through rational language like acid through tissue paper. All of it rendered into content. All of it made consumable. The horror was never the demon. That was always the easier story. The one with a monster you could name, an origin, a theology, a resolution. The actual horror was quieter and older and has nothing supernatural about it. It was trusting someone completely and discovering that trust, no matter how total, cannot reach the part of a person where the real damage lives. It was the gap between what you believed and what was true, and everything that fell into that gap on the way down. You didn't survive a haunting. You survived believing the wrong story about safety and learning, too late, that the story was yours to begin with. Somewhere between a boy who recovered and a man who didn't, the question of what actually happened on Newtown Road is still waiting to be answered. And maybe that uncertainty is the most honest thing the case ever produced. If you want to see more, click the video on screen now.